to deep right field. That ball's got a chance. Griffey at the wall. He leaps up and he makes the catch. A super play by Ken Griffey to take extra bases away from Babe Ruth.
Baseball is a president tossing out the first ball of the season and a pudgy schoolboy playing catch with his dad on a Mississippi farm. A tall, thin old man waving a scorecard from the corner of his dugout. That's baseball. So is a big fat guy with a bulbous nose running home one of his 714 home runs. There's a man in Mobile who remembers that Honus Wagner hit a triple in Pittsburgh 46 years ago. That's baseball. And so is a scout reporting that a 16-year-old Sandlot pitcher in Cheyenne is a coming Walter Johnson. Baseball is a spirited race of man against man, reflex against reflex, of game of inches. Every skill is measured, every heroic, every failing, seen and cheered or booed, and then becomes a statistic. In baseball, democracy shines its clearest. The only race that matters is a race of the bag. The creed is a rule book, and color, merely something to distinguish one team's uniform from another. Baseball is a rookie, his experience no bigger than the lump in his throat as he begins fulfillment of his dream. It's a veteran, too. A tired old man of 35, hoping those aching muscles can pull him through another sweltering August and September. Nicknames of baseball, names like Zeke and Pie and Kai and Home Run and Cracker and Dizzy and Dazzy. Baseball is the clear, cool eyes of Rogers Hornsby, the flashing spikes of a Ty Cobb, and an overaged fixie named Rabbit Moranville. Baseball, just a game, as simple as a ball and bat, and yet as complex as the American spirit it symbolizes. It's a sport, a business, sometimes almost even religion. Why, the fairy tale of Willie Mays making a brilliant World Series catch and then dashing off to play stickball in the streets with his teenage pals. That's baseball. And so is the husky voice of a doomed Lou Gehrig saying, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of this earth. Baseball is cigar smoke, hot roasted peanuts, ladies' day, down in front, take me out for the ball game, the seventh inning stretch, and the Star-Spangled Banner. Baseball is a man named Campanella telling the nation's business leaders, you have to be a man to be a big leaguer, but you have to have a lot of little boy in you, too. This is a game for America, this baseball, a game for boys and for men.
The sentiments of Hall of Fame broadcaster Ernie Harwell go a long way toward explaining what baseball is all about. But there is so much more. The players, the records, the winners and losers. The glorious history of baseball.
There is a fifth dimension, beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity. It is the middle ground between light and shadow, between science and superstition, and it lies between the pit of man's fears and the summit of his knowledge. This is the dimension of imagination. It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Every day you say it's time for baseball, but tonight it's a little bit different.
The beauty of baseball is that on any given day, anything can happen.
Hello again, everybody. I'm Jack Buck.
And I'm Lindsey Nelson.
And this is the greatest baseball game never played.
The greatest baseball game never played was played on July 14th, 1982 at old Shibe Park in Philadelphia. To say the least, it was an amazing contest, as the greats of all time came together on one field at one time to battle for their respective leagues. The fans selected the starting lineups. For the American League, it was Rizzuto batting first and playing short. Ty Cobb was in center, Ted Williams in left, Babe Ruth in right, Lou Gehrig at first, Rod Carew at second, Brooks Robinson at third, Yogi Berra catching, and Whitey Ford on the mound.
Starting for the national team, Pete Rose led off and played first. Mike Schmidt was at third. Stan the Man Musial was in right. Hank Aaron in left. Willie Mays, the center fielder. Rogers Hornsby was at second. Honus Wagner was the shortstop. Roy Campanella behind the plate. And the starting National League pitcher, Sandy Koufax.
The Sporting News editors named the 21 reserves on each squad. For the American League, Joe DiMaggio, Tris Speaker, Mickey Mantle, Reggie Jackson, and Carl Yastrzemski were reserve outfielders. First base reserves, Jimmy Fox and George Sisler. Eddie Collins and Charlie Gehringer were available for second base duty. Third base, George Brett. At shortstop, Joe Cronin and Luis Aparicio. Reserve catchers, Mickey Cochran and Bill Dickey. And the remainder of the pitching staff, Lefty Grove, Bob Feller, Walter Johnson, Cy Young, Jim Palmer, Raleigh Fingers, and Gaylord Perry.
National League reserves included Mel Ott, Roberto Clemente, Lou Brock, and Frank Robinson in the outfield. Bill Terry and Johnny Mize at first base. Frank Frisch and Jackie Robinson at second. Pie Traynor and Eddie Matthews at third. Ernie Banks and Pee Wee Reese at shortstop. Catchers Gabby Hartnett and Johnny Bench. The remainder of the National League pitching staff, Grover Cleveland Alexander, Warren Spahn, Bob Gibson, Carl Hubble, Christy Mathewson, Tom Seaver, and Steve Carlton.
Casey Stengel was named to manage the American team, recognized for his 12-year career with the Yankees, during which they won 10 American League pennants and 9 World Series.
Named to manage the Nationals was the Little Napoleon, John McGraw, who in 30 years as manager of the Giants led them to 10 National League pennants and 3 World Championships.
The site for the greatest baseball game never played was selected, historic Shibe Park in Philadelphia. Shibe had been the home of the National League Phillies in the American League Athletics. 33,608 persons could be accommodated in the double-deck grandstand with the roof topping the upper tier. In left field stood a double-deck stand that extended from the foul line corner to straightaway center, an inviting target for right-handed power hitters, although a ball hit into those stands was not a cheap shot. The distances were 334 down the line in left, 405 up the power alley in left, 400 feet to the alley in right, 331 down the line to the foul pole in right.
The rule says good pitching will stop good hitting, but seldom has good pitching faced hitting the likes of Babe Ruth with a lifetime average